I just had like the greatest intro ever, and no one could hear a word of it. No one could hear a word. Delete even told me before the stream, make sure you're not on mute. And I wasn't on mute. They heard me the entire time. And I came up with the greatest intro ever. You missed everything. We gave away 3 codes. We talked about the new hero coming to the game. I mean, we did all this stuff, right? And then all of a sudden, I realized that Windows did an update and I had no audio. But we are back. We are back with audio. See, this is what happens when McVenom goes away, Delete. I'm telling you right now, this is what happens when McVenom goes away and she leaves me in charge. Just bad things are bound to happen. So when McVenom goes back to listen to this, she's just going to be like, Ben, why? You don't even check your mic. And then I can tell her about how every time she has mic issues too. And then she's going to be like, don't bring up my mic issues. And then she's going to yell at me for bringing up her mic issues. So let's just go ahead and introduce everyone first, because this is all... this is a different type of intro than I had planned. I talked about Frank. I talked about his tennis ball. I mean, I had a great intro. But we don't have that now. So first off, to the left of me on screen is Delete. There you go. Then to the right side is Daedric, the Killmaster himself. Are we gonna call you? Let's call you Drusty. I want to call you Drusty. And the OGs comes from Mr. Sin. How are you doing, Sin? Okay, and okay, you know, oh my God, really,
everyone.
Okay, say hi again, Delete.
Buckle in. It's gonna be awesome tonight.
There we go. Now they can hear him. Now let's talk to Daedric because apparently you guys got muted too. God, I hate Windows updates so much. I hate Windows updates so much. All right. So you can hear everyone. This is exactly Aaron Knight. This is why we can't have nice things. When Finn gets left in charge, everyone is muted. Just straight up, everyone is muted. It's just 100% muted for everyone. You get a mute, and you get muted. It's just all over the place. All right, now let's say hi officially to Sin. Sin, how are you?
What's up, everyone? I'm good, you?
I am doing much better now that everyone can hear you guys. And for some reason, Ranger's on. Hi, Ranger. Okay, that's Ranger.
Just here, moral support.
I guess so. All right. So we are getting ready to talk about heroes in this game. But before we do that, I want to talk a little bit about something else. First off, thank you guys so much for coming out and bearing with me in the first like 5 minutes of this, because this is all kinds of awful, and that's usually what happens. RSG State 69 is all kinds of awful. So it's true. It's true. But that's why you guys are here. It's Finn Sanity, it's Finanigans, whatever you want to call it. It's just all kinds of crazy. So before we get started though, I do want to talk about something that's pretty important. It's outside of State of Survival, but it's something that we as RSG do every single year. And so I do want to bring it to all of your guys' attention. And so I'm going to bring it on the screen here for you guys. And it's going to be down below, but I'll explain it more and I'll put the link in the chat. But what this is every year, for those of you not familiar with State of Survival, I know we've been covering State of Survival now this is episode 23. So 23 weeks of this, and a lot of you guys are not extremely familiar with RSG. But we've been streaming together for about 4 years now, and basically for the last 3 years, we have done a charity fundraiser every year. And we did one for the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention in our first year. And then in the last 2 years, we've done it for the American Cancer Society. And I am sporting an American Cancer Society determination shirt because although we couldn't do it this last year, although we had plans to, the year before, we ran a half marathon at Disney for the American Cancer Society as the end of our fundraiser. And over the last 3 years, we have raised over $40,000 for the different charities that we've raised money for, courtesy of all of you awesome people in the community. And so we are once again kicking off our charity campaign. So what I'm bringing on the screen right now, which will hopefully load, there we go, is our Tiltify campaign, and you can see it down below there. And I'm going to put the link to it in the chat. So the Tiltify campaign is where we go in order to raise money for the American Cancer Society. It doesn't touch our hands. It goes directly through Tiltify to the American Cancer Society. So we're this weekend, we are starting off with a 12-hour stream starting at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, where we are going to be playing a bunch of different games. We're going to start with Galaxy of Heroes. We're going to do that for a little bit. We're going to do some Pictionary. We have a whole lineup set up, and you guys can go to our Discord and check the charity announcements channel in order to see the whole list. But if you go there and donate, there is a list of different things that you can get. Most importantly, however, if you actually go into the site and you look up the targets, if we hit those targets, this 12-hour stream will become a 36-hour stream. So we have challenges available where you guys can donate, and if we hit the targets for one of those, we're going to add a 12-hour stream that will go from 10 p.m. until 10 a.m. on Sunday. And we have another challenge where if we hit that, it'll go from 10 a.m. Sunday until 10 p.m. on Sunday. So we could be streaming for 36 hours, all in an effort to raise money for the American Cancer Society. So go ahead, and if you guys can, of course, go ahead and donate to the American Cancer Society. The link was posted in the chat. If you come out tomorrow, we're going to have the link more readily available. I'm going to keep this more State of Survival related for this stream, but I did want to at least let you guys know this weekend is a big weekend for us. Huge kickoff to our charity campaign, so please make sure you guys can come out, hang out. Even if you guys can't donate, just come out, hang out, and have fun. So that is the quick announcement here. And before we get into it, as I told them I was going to do, Finn has a mission for 2021 and could definitely use the help of everyone in chat. If you know Finn always starts off his streams with Welch's Fruit Snacks. That's right, Welch's Fruit Snacks, berries and cherries, the greatest fruit snacks out there in the planet. So Finn has a mission to try and be sponsored by Welch's. And if you guys would like to help, I'm going to start a Twitter campaign here soon. Yeah, so if you guys would like to help the Finn campaign for Welch's Fruit Snacks, then I'm going to start a Twitter campaign. And the best part about it, Welch's Fruit Snacks is made with real fruit. It says it's right on the package. So with real fruit and real insanity, you can now have the greatest streamer ever. Maybe not really, but kind of, with sponsored by Welch's. That's right. we have to build it up. I mean, we have to make Welch's want this thing.
All right, I popped in because one, you're an idiot and the sound wasn't working, so I've been trying to work.
I figured out why. It was a Windows update.
I know, so I'm just monitoring everything, and then we just had somebody donate. We've had some donations come in already on the ACS. So I don't know if you saw that, if it pinged you or anything like that. So
it's not pinging here, but I saw it. I did see it.
Okay, you did see it.
Yep.
Okay, so
it was.
All right, I'm going back into quiet mode just because. Oh boy.
Okay. Well, we did have the lovely Sweet donate $100. So thank you very much, Sweet. Who is in the chat. So thank you very much, Sweet. And I'll read her message. She said, "Congratulations on being such awesome people and taking the time to support such a good cause. You make my heart smile with the daily streams and videos. Thank you for your friendship, RSG." Well, we love you too, Sweet. I know Sweet is like always on the road, and so we entertain her with our nonsense all the time. So thank you very much, Sweet.
Well, you
so, our Girl Scout cookies made with real Girl Scouts. No comment. No comment. Okay.
Let's not.
So we're gonna go ahead and jump into talking about heroes in State of Survival. Now, as you guys know, I'm fairly new to the game. I basically started sometime. Let me see. If I go to my game, I missed maybe like one day after I created the account on the stream. But then since then, I have been logged in for 70 consecutive days, which means 10 weeks. So my account is somewhere around 10 weeks, maybe 11 weeks old. And I'm in state 359. And if you guys are interested in playing, we have a lot of new people coming out and playing in our state. Oh yeah, in our alliance, and then joining our state and playing in our alliance, and just having fun. So we want all of the RG community to come out and join us for that. But the other thing too is these guys are much more pro than I am, because they have states that are less than 200, unlike me, who is above 350. It kind of makes a difference because the state has different rules, and I don't even have all the heroes yet. So we're going to talk about heroes on a few different levels. We're going to talk about it on a free-to-play versus a pay-to-play, as well as whether or not you're a newer player or an older player, because newer states don't have all the heroes, so you want to maybe work on some now, plan for the future. Older ones have pretty much all of the heroes, and now we're just waiting for the next gen ones. And so it's a matter of trying to figure out the best strategy on how to get the heroes and which heroes to focus on. And a lot of you guys have asked this before, so we're going to go into a little bit of detail to go through that. So let's start off maybe with the basic heroes, right? Which are the ones that for sure I have. And we'll kind of just go to you guys and ask you what your thoughts are in terms of in those 4 categories, right? If you're a older player and you're free to play, is this a character that's worth it? If you're an older player and a pay to play, is it worth it? And then we'll talk a little bit more about who you would replace with them in the certain spots. Because there are 3 different types of heroes, as you guys are all aware, and Finn is leading the stream. So the heroes are the punchy, the shooty, and the stabby heroes. And those heroes, yes,
That's wrong.
It's Finn leading the stream now. I'm just saying, this is the way it works. So for those of you not familiar, there's a reason why I called it that. So let's go ahead and look at it right now. See, so Maddie has this little knife thing, right? So she is a stabby hero. You can see him has the bullseye and the target. So like Jeb, for example, is a shooty hero. And of course, Nicola has a fist, so he's a punchy. So that is how they get their name. It is the punchy, the shooty, and the stabby. Furry says, I quit. No. Furry already knows exactly what these are. See, her problem is she already knows exactly what it is, and so it drives her crazy. So yeah. So there you go. So, those are the heroes. And let's go through, and I'll just go through this as the list here. Let's start with Maddie and Frank, because I think this is one of the first heroes that you get. Even though it's a legendary, you can access her pretty quickly. She was one of the first heroes that I got. So let's start with our newest panelist here, Mr. Sin. Sin, what are your thoughts on Maddie and Frank and just her general use in the game at different levels for different players?
I'm going to say generally, I still use Maddie to this point. Like whether it be in explorer missions or for like infecteds, like she's not too bad all around. As a free to play though, like she's kind of hard to get. Like you'll get her slowly over time, but not like insanely fast unless you buy packs. I don't know.
Finn, you're muted.
Of course I am. Okay, so Lieutenant, I have her at Lieutenant Colonel right now, right? Which I think is fairly good progress for 10 weeks in, right?
Yeah,
I know General is still kind of far away. Other thing too, as I think most of the people in 359 can probably attest to, I am a little bit crazy about spending the resources, and I'm competing in the events and those kind of things. So I'm trying to maximize my overall like gain back. But I'm at Lieutenant Colonel 1, 3 bars away from Lieutenant Colonel 2. So moving my way up. So she's at a max level of 60 right now. So still a little bit ways to go. But that doesn't seem like bad progress, especially with Delete, I'll ask you. So I have her. I know there's some restrictions, right? Because the rank helps with all the stats. It also restricts your level cap. But I have all of her abilities maxed out at level 5, right?
Yeah.
And I can then stick her into the hero training area, and she's gonna get the kind of the effect, which is really just the march capacity of being a max level, right? So is there anything really? I mean, I know she's going to take a little bit of time, right? But is she maybe, from what I can tell, she might be the best free-to-play legendary hero? Is that kind of a fair statement?
There are situations where I've used Maddie and Frank for Reservoir Raid to hold the center, because her skills are pretty strong. I was using Maddie and Frank for, my accounts, I just maxed out just about everything except for a little bit of research, but I was still using her for trap. Her skill level in trap was actually adding wasn't like a ginormous bump. But she was actually doing more damage for trap for me as one of the heroes in my 3. So she provides a solid amount of basically just being an all around utility player. She's actually pretty solid in utility missions, also, or explorer missions, I should say. Frank really kind of soaks up a lot of damage and will keep enemies that much further away. So buying you a little time to either kind of throw something else, one of your other skills from your other people, because it was like I used her to beat level 12, the end of the Explorer mission. So, she definitely has a place as being one of the better heroes out there, because you can use her in so many different facets of the game. If you're going to be a PvP, nonstop attacker, it's not going to be great, but she can sit on your wall for defense also, if you're just kind of like not mindful of your base and want to kind of keep a solid settlement hero back. She's pretty strong there too. So she's got a bunch of different ways. Manny and Frank have a bunch of different ways that you can use them to kind of help you progress in the game. So she's definitely up there as far as best free-to-play person to have, because you can use her a lot.
Mm-hmm. And that is what I'm noticing. So I'm glad I'm kind of focusing on her. I know that there are some characters or heroes that are coming out soon, and I'm gonna stick with I'm gonna stick with a group of heroes in particular. And it's because I know that, especially for the newer states like me, it's especially important. And that's going to be the heroes that are in Survival of the Fittest. So in Survival of the Fittest, it started out with Maddie when I was first there. It then shifted over to the next one that I want to talk about, which is currently in the 359 Survival of the Fittest, which is Wolf. So Wolf is a punchy hero. He's an infantry hero. He is he seems kind of neat. It's hard for me to invest in him because, kind of to what Sin was mentioning, Daedric, I'm not getting a lot of frags of him very quickly. It also doesn't sound like maybe in endgame he has that huge amount of use. Like, he's a good hero. He's a good infantry hero, and I'm noticing that infantry heroes, maybe there's a little bit lacking, especially in terms of, like, I can pretty much get away with Chef for a while and still be okay. So what are your thoughts on Wolf as a overall hero for both those that spend and those that are free to play?
So Wolf's Gen 2, just for people who are unfamiliar with the generations, Wolf is Gen 2. For the longest time, I had him on wall defense. He provides a 63.5% health buff for the settlement. So for quite some time, when a lot of states were operating in Gen 2 heroes, Wolf was almost always on wall defense. He was very rarely used for PvP, but in the case of a rally, sometimes people would throw him in. Wolf is exceptionally great on trap. So usually the combination I would use Maddie, Wolf, and Zoe as an example, or the new heroes on trap, because Wolf and Maddie provide such a significant boost to various statistics on the trap. So ironically that we were talking about Maddie, because you can partner Maddie with Wolf and then one of your, obviously your third hero in there. So from a free-to-play perspective, the issue with Wolf is he's a purchase hero. So the way King's Group has set up the hero systems and the generations is you can earn them 3 ways, primarily through events. So, you have your Survival of the Fittest, which is where you access one of them. The other one you access through daily deals. And the third one you access through Raise Place. Now, Wolf was through Survival of the Fittest. And you could also purchase him through dailies as well at one point, but it was very brief. So unless you're performing really well in events, you're unlikely to get him as a free-to-play. As a pay-to-play, is it worth it? Yes and no. Because of how rapidly they're releasing like keep in mind, we're in Gen 5. So Gen 5 is Brooke, Julia Garcia, and Tyler. So, keep in mind that we're talking, max stats at 390%. The likelihood of you using Wolf down the road is next to zero for anything. So knowing that fact, like here's the benefit. Older states, you see what's coming. So the benefit for new states in this game is you get to plan what you actually want to buy. So when we're looking at Gen 2 and Gen 3, you don't even need to invest. You could actually save all of your legendary frags and just pour them all into Gen 4 and 5. But in your case, Finn, I'm not sure your circumstances in terms of how much you're investing money-wise, but you would have to put some dollars in. Okay, so you would have to put some dollars in if you really wanted an effective Wolf. So free to play, you're pretty much nixed, but pay to play, it is worth it. If you're needing a solid hero again on the wall, as I mentioned. Gen 2 is okay. There's Ray and Lucky as well, which you also have to buy. Like Lucky and Ray are through the VIP chests as you rank up your VIP level. So they're unique access heroes. So it just depends on the route you want to go. But again, knowing that we're already in Gen 5, I wouldn't even invest in Gen 2.
Okay.
Yeah. Ray and Lucky too are like, those are two heroes that people heavily invested in because you can only get them through the VIP bundles. And I felt like they were quickly useless, unfortunately. Ray was a solid defense hero, but quickly done away because his stats really aren't that high for just about anything. So it really didn't do anything. I mean, he was just cool to kind of have. Was basically the way that worked out. Lucky was just kind of gone so fast, so as you were playing in the beginning, like early on, probably up to about day 30 in 359, Lucky was like the strongest hero and then quickly done away with pretty quickly. So it was just like, those two heroes just kind of definitely deserve a little bit of a revamp because of how much you have to put in to kind of get them. But yeah, I do feel like, Wolf, Wolf's solid, but you have to invest. And it's at that point when you see what's coming, I don't think it's worth the investment because he's kind of meh, unless you're trying to be a Reservoir raid player that sends out all 6 marches and all 6 of your marches are really strong. Then to take 6 different buildings, I don't think you need to invest in every single hero that comes out.
Which brings me kind of to the next hero, Sin, which is, so if I'm sticking in this group, right, with the survival of the fittest ones, right, we started off with Maddie and Frank, then it goes to Wolf. Then the next one right now is the one that I'm kind of eyeing because I got Wolf from the first survival of the fittest where he was there, so I unlocked him and I was good. Now I'm saving because from what I've heard from all of you guys, however you say it, Zoe is one of the good heroes right now. She's one of the better heroes that players can have, right? She's also going to be difficult for a free-to-play player to get, so I understand that. But if I'm saving up now and waiting for those survival of the fittest, then maybe I can get some extra frags and get higher in those events rather than just trying to place like top 100 in these ones. So what are your thoughts on, and how do you say it? Zoe? I always say Zoe.
Zoe.
Zoe. Okay. So how do you view Zoe as a character?
Zoe's actually a really strong hero. Like, I've pretty much like worked her up first over every other hero that I've got currently. Generally, I'm gonna say definitely start saving stuff. Don't be wasting it. Like Daedra said, don't waste the packs. Like, don't buy Ray. Don't buy Lucky. I wouldn't really worry too much about Wolf. I'd start looking more towards Zoe, Ash, and Miho. as a group you'll want to use.
And those are all potentially free to play usable, or how do they work for free to play?
So as Daedric stated, it's all done through Survival of the Fittest, is raise place and the daily deals.
Mm-hmm.
But after the new heroes come out, the Gen 4 heroes, they'll be part of the vouchers that you can use with biocaps, or you could spend like a couple of dollars and get them up that way. It really is up to you.
So I'm glad you brought that up, because that was one of the things I was going to talk about, which is how you guys feel about the value vouchers. Because I'm looking at them, right, and I think those are awesome, right? But the best part is I can get the vouchers now, and I learn very quickly, again, from you guys, like the heroes and stuff. And I think it was what Daedric, you mentioned, which is the best thing, is that the newer states can learn from the older states, right? I have a better idea because of you guys of what is coming down the line, which is helping me kind of plan out what I'm doing, right? So these value vouchers come out and they have like Maddie and Frank, and they have I think it's Jeb and Wolf in there, or no, they have Nicola in there. And I was looking at those and I'm like, you know what? Those are those are pretty good heroes. I can make use of them. But I asked very quickly, I think it was either you, Delete, or I asked Fury, does Zoe end up in value vouchers? And the answer I got was yes. She shows up afterwards. She's going to be like the next one that shows in there. So now with the value vouchers, I just get those vouchers and I'm holding them because I know what's coming down the line, and that is more important than what is currently there for me, right? So exactly to the point, Delete, like that's what I'm doing, right? I am hoarding my general gold frags, right? Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Sin.
I'm going to stop you there, right? I'm not sure if they'll do it for your state straight away.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't do it for ours, that's a guarantee. Every time they release a new gen of heroes, there'll be a new load of vouchers that will be specifically for those heroes. So it stops people stacking up a ton of vouchers and just using them all to level them up.
Yeah, like the coupon from like a red coupon to a green coupon.
Yeah.
Oh.
So you might as well just use all your vouchers, because at this current point, you probably won't be able to use them next load.
Yeah, but it's like the older heroes become cheaper. It'll be like one of them, like an older gen hero will be like 5 vouchers when it in the later one, and it'll be 8 in the one that it's like they're featured in. There's a little bit of a difference as far as that's concerned. So you definitely want to pick and choose who to kind of invest in as far as that's concerned. I mean, I feel like, Jeb's got some value. I feel like Jeb's actually pretty solid, in Explorer missions. I mean, if you're, concentrating on that and you're looking to kind of rank people that way, he's come out in our state, and, I was like, Jeb's all right. I would actually, my Explorer hero is actually an epic. Mike's a beast. Mike's a beast in Explorer missions. He's so strong. So even when I was doing like the for like the anniversary event, like the giant plague zone, mm-hmm. as I commentate town, it was I was using Mike. My lineup was Mike, and who else? I was using Ash and Miho. Surprisingly enough, so Mike's got some talent there as far as that's concerned.
So it's a good thing. See, it's a good thing I'm bringing this up. So the value vouchers that I'm holding, are they still usable later on, but just not on the later gen, or do they become completely useless?
They become completely useless.
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, spend those the next time I see the value vouchers. There's no point in holding.
Yeah, I'm gonna suggest doing it on Jeb, simply because like we've had a guy in lore on State 125 using him for trap, and he literally just obliterates everyone else's damage. He's like always first. It's crazy.
Yeah, Jeb's solid for trap as a rally joiner, because he's got the pretty big percentage buff, as well as like solid percentage stats. That really kind of juice your damage up close to like, someone that's much stronger. So he'd join my rally and I would be doing like 37,000 in trap damage, and he'd be doing about 28,000 personally. And he doesn't have, the gold pieces all over the place like I do. So it was basically every time he joined my rally, he was kind of doing a run and a half compared to everybody else. So that was a big advantage to using Jeb as a rally joiner.
So okay. So let's keep on that track now. So let's talk about a little bit more about the value vouchers, because I know we have some of the people that I recognize as some of the newer players that are playing in 359, and some of you guys are veterans in the chat too. So I love seeing you guys like basically agreeing and giving advice too. So those of you that are in chat, yes, please feel free to put your opinions in there too, and I'm checking those out right now. Everyone's is pretty much in line with you guys, which is awesome. But now looking at this, right, again, coming from a zero spender, I'm trying to do this as completely free to play, just to see like how I can keep up. And McVenom is like kind of a comparison, right, between how McVenom plays and I play, and just try to see the difference there. But if I have the option between Jeb and Maddie and Frank, which one would I do? Because as a free to play, maxing out Maddie and Frank is going to take a while, but I could use value vouchers to speed that up, especially if she's going to be useful later on, versus Jeb that might get replaced. So where should I look?
100%.
No, carry on, Daedric.
Was that
100%. 100% Jeb. To give you some perspective, right, where Delete and I are at, obviously, we're older states. Just to give you an understanding of how important they can still be. Right now, I have an A March, a B March, and a C March because you have 3 presets. So my A March is the Gen 5, which is Brooke, Julia, and Tyler. My B March is Gen 4, which is Miho, Ash, and Zoe. And then I actually, for my C March, I use Jeb, Ray, and Trish. So I'm still using Gen 3 in PvP today as a C March, even where I'm at as a player. Like they are so effective, Jeb and Trish together. So it doesn't have to be Ray as your infantry hero, but just using Jeb and Trish specifically because of the same gen, they absolutely destroy in PvP. The buffs they provide are intense against enemy settlements, and trap for that matter, as we were just talking about trap. So I would absolutely kibosh Maddie and Frank in favor of Jeb. And that's not even to say if you are, like, you don't even have to be a PvP player. I would still get Jeb. Because if you're doing things like trap, or you need, a really solid hero on your wall, or just one to have on your roster, Jeb and Trish for sure, Gen 3.
Okay. I'm going to throw another wrinkle at you guys, because Delete knows this one.
Jeb is solid, and he is, it's almost always like you want to go with the newer hero over the older, without question, because their stats are that much stronger. The reason they're newer is because they're better, kind of thing. It's like it also depends on what level your alliance is, because Maddie is you can still get Maddie frags from bunkers. Maddie and Nicola are available in bunkers. Jeb is only available through either purchase or vouchers or things of that nature. He's not a gainable hero or rankable hero through just playing the game, through bunkers and facilities and so on and so forth. So, definitely if you have the choice of just want to kind of do one of them, Jeb would be the one that I would concentrate on.
Okay.
And then when Miho, Zoe, and Ash come out, then it's, then you're back to that.
What about so again, this is maybe a little bit of an odder situation, because I know we've talked about this, but usually, especially where you guys are, free to play don't tend to be the setters for trap, right? But you guys can see, I don't know if you can see it on the screen, but Delete knows because we're in the same alliance. I am likely one of the setters for our traps. So does that change whether or not I should be going for Jeb or Maddie, or the other one that's in there, which is actually Nicola, if he's also worth it? Still, would it still be Jeb in that situation, or would it change if I'm setting?
I would still do Jeb. And you're you're thinking longevity for the game. So the really tricky thing is, because you could ask the question, hey, I'm not a PvP player. I'm specifically farming and trap and recreational and just events and all that fun jazz, right? And that's okay. It's better to have Jeb over Maddie. So Maddie provides a really great trap hero, but longevity-wise for the game and your account and all the stuff you're going to be doing, absolutely Jeb, because when you go into things like Fortress and Bunkers and Reservoir Raid, which I'm sure you're participating in all of those, right? You're keeping those in mind. You're going to be using Jeb far more than you ever will Maddie. Maddie, I stopped using her the moment Gen 3 came out. I use her occasionally for trap just to test out some trap mechanics, but she becomes obsolete. So I would absolutely still stick with Jeb regardless.
Okay. So that gets us through kind of that set of heroes. Let's go to the next kind of legendary on my list here, which is Trish. So I think if you're talking about Gen 2, right, were the Gen 2 Trish, Wolf, and Jeb, were those the Gen 2 heroes? Because they were kind of released together on our state. I don't know if they were released the same for everyone else. So how is Trish as a character? We'll start with Daedric this time.
Trish, as I was mentioning earlier with Jeb, the two of them make a deadly combination when it comes to PvP. Her and Jeb together provide some significant debuffs to an enemy settlement. So obviously if you're doing, siege on bunkers and fortress, and again, doing rallies, they make a very great pair. Wolf, unfortunately, he provides a rally bonus, which is okay. He's not a solid PvP hero. Wolf is more of your wall defense kind of guy and trap. And again, he goes well with Maddie for trap, but Trish and Jeb for sure PvP. And again, if you're going into things like Bunker, Fortress, Reservoir, Raid, Capital, for that matter, if you guys are sitting in Gen 2 for your state, great heroes to have. So that's really where I would stick with it and invest in Trish. As Delete was mentioning, heroes will get cheaper over time. Hey, Venom. Heroes will get cheaper over time. When Miho was featured, she was the loot voucher pack. You had loot vouchers. She became cheaper, so she went down, I think, a couple vouchers. And then you had Ernie featured, which is the hammer voucher. He's going to go down in voucher cost as well. So everything gets cheaper. You're always going to have a promotion for stuff. It depends on the direction you're going as a player, how you want to play. So Finn, my answer to you, when we're talking about Gen 2, Trish and Jeb, if you are a frequent Reservoir Raid and Bunker player, you're expected to run rallies and you're expected to be kind of one of those head-on guys, I would invest now, but keeping in mind they will get cheaper over time.
Got it.
Yeah. Getting your heroes to a serviceable level, is probably ideal. And what I mean serviceable is get them up to where they are stronger than heroes that you presently have. And then you can kind of slowly roll, and really naturally progress them with XP books and so on and so forth. Just get them to the point where you can kind of use them. For some people, they feel like that's 60. For some it's 50, ideally it's kind of 70, and then going from 70 to 80 is kind of, wow, I use this person all the time, but it's a big investment from going to 70 to 80 than it is from going 50 to 60 or 60 to 70. It grows exponentially. So definitely plan it out, plan out who you are in your alliance, who your alliance feels like, what spot you want to fill in your alliance, top dog, rally joiner. Make sure you have those things in mind when you're mapping out your game, unless you're just going to buy everything. If you're not going to buy anything, then you have to kind of carefully progress your character and your settlement appropriately, to kind of maximize your effectiveness, to kind of really make yourself as big a part of the alliance as possible. So just use your wits when it comes to that. By far, I think the biggest piece of advice I can give you as far as that's concerned.
Yeah, to add on to Delete brings up a really great point. A strategy with that is if you get your hero to lieutenant colonel, which is 70 frags needed to progress at that rank, that's where you would wait until they get cheaper. It's actually a really good strategy because it is manageable to get enough frags to get them to lieutenant colonel. Then when you start needing 70 frags a level, that can get quite complex at that time, because the chance of you ranking up a 70 frag hero in a short period is unlikely, especially if you're not spending. So if you get them to lieutenant colonel, then wait for the promotion packs to come out, you're going to be getting them at a much cheaper value at that time, but they're still relevant because, again, I'm still using Gen 4 today and I'm still using Gen 3 today. Even though they're in B March and C March, they're still relevant heroes. So, strategize even the level you want to get them to. And Delete and I were talking, I don't recommend players even push their heroes to level 80 if you don't have the experience books to do it, because the amount of XP you need to get your hero to 80, keep in mind that only increases your March cap. It's not a lot. Your March cap only goes up between 50 and 100 troops per level. So if you're looking at 10 levels, 70 to 80, maybe 1,000 troop addition to capacity, that's tiny. And you're wasting hundreds of XP books to get there. So you might as well use them to get your other heroes to 70 versus wasting them all on a hero to get to 80.
Does that change with the hero training area, though? Because I know that's something that you guys don't have, right? In the older states. So in the newer states, just for those that aren't familiar with it, the hero precinct has what's called the hero training area. So it takes your highest 3 leveled heroes, and the lowest of those 3 is what determines the level of all of the other heroes that you place inside of the hero training area. It does increase the March capacity. I don't know if the leveling of does anything else for the heroes. Like, is that it? Level is just simply for March capacity? That's it?
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, so maybe that's something nicer about the newer states then compared to the older states, right? Which is, I am for that reason, right? When I saw the hero precinct and the hero training area, I was just focusing on those 3. Like, I have 3 heroes that I'm just trying to like straight up max out right now, right? And those 3 are like the ones that I got early. They're Sarge, Travis, and Rusty. So I'm just trying to get them completely done. And then once they're done, I have my top 3 heroes. They're good to go. And then I can just keep on rotating other stuff inside of the training area. So, I don't know. McVenom is here now. Hi, McVenom.
Hey, guys.
So,
Sorry. I am out in a cabin deep in the woods in the corner. It's hella scary. Have the fam with me. We're actually currently trying to figure out how to open a wine bottle without a corkscrew.
Ooh.
So
Teat.
anybody that has that information can help me.
do you have a
What?
screw?
If you've got like a lighter,
Everybody keeps
or...
saying that. Like, we keep Googling that. Like, if we don't have a corkscrew, no, we don't have a screw either. Like,
You know, a screw is much easier to have than a corkscrew. Like,
Have you,
I mean, like,
have
you guys don't see here. Look, I will even turn this camera around. Like, we're in a cabin.
oh, there's
Cabin.
a bunch of screws on that bunk bed. Just take one off.
Where? No, there's not.
I am sure there is a
You have
connection with
you have
the
a
screw there.
screwdriver.
Yeah, but then you would need
No. Who
drive.
travels with a screwdriver?
I don't know if the place
I mean,
comes with
you've
like
got- you've
tools
got
or
one of
anything like
those-
that, or maybe you have one in the car or something. I don't know.
I have a little
No,
pocket thing that's a
currently-
screwdriver.
Currently, Allison has tried using like makeup tools to like
What?
shove the cork down into it. Like, it's not a car key. We've tried all kinds
You're
of
gonna
stuff.
need something that's like that you have to kind of like twist in there, because if it's just a smooth entrance like a nail, unless it really grips, the problem is just gonna slide out when you try to pull it up.
I
Well-
saw a YouTube video of a guy putting the wine bottle in a shoe and then
In a
like
shoe?
yeah, to
Yep.
the bottom, and then basically bashing the shoe with the wine bottle against something, and it just created enough of a gap where they could like bite and pull it out. But that was, I don't know if I would try that, but it was a YouTube that I saw one time.
Allison, they're saying a shoe. You should use
You
a
have-
shoe.
You do
have a-
not
You
wanna do
basically
that.
ketchup bottle the wine in a shoe right? You're basically like ketchup bottle.
She said, I don't trust the nerd war, folks.
Yeah.
Do you have like a lighter or something?
Do you have a lighter or something? No,
Yeah.
we don't smoke.
How would you-
We don't. No, we don't have a lighter.
I would use
Oh,
it,
well, they get rid of them.
scrape away, and then once you get like half of the cork done, then you could just push it through.
Do you have a bucket?
Oh, did you get it? She got it. Never mind. She got it. She used the car keys and she wrapped the towel around the top of it and just kept pushing. She's got some arm strength on that one. Okay.
Where there's a will,
Guys,
there's
yeah, right. So, yeah.
All right.
So we're
since
out here in the woods. Go ahead. What were you going to say,
I was
Finity?
gonna say, while McVenom is talking, let me give away the first code here for everyone, as we're we're in here. So, first code is about to be on screen. So everybody, get whatever it is you need ready. Don't share it to anyone. This is specifically for you guys for being here during this stream and everything like that. So, the first code is Killer Nikki. The code is Killer Nikki. KILLERNICKI. Killer Nikki.
Yay, Killer Nikki.
It says code expired, by the way, just saying.
It says
What?
it does not.
Well, I just typed it in and it said it expired, so that's weird.
It's expired, Finn.
Stop it.
wow.
Yeah, it's
Did
expired.
they set a timer on it, you think, Finn?
I don't know. Did they set a timer?
Never done
I
it
don't
before.
know. I'll talk to the handler, Aeth, and if
Okay.
we...
I'll give away number 2. Let's see if number 2 works then.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
here we go. We're going to try and give away the second code now instead, so you guys hopefully have something. Code number 2 is backspace with 2 A's in the space is BACKSPAACE.
That's expired as well.
Okay.
Oh.
I don't know what
Yeah.
So he did give them to me a little bit earlier than usual. So I'll talk to him and see if maybe he'll give us a set and I'll let it out on the Discord server on the RSG
Okay.
Dump or
survival Discord server. So you guys just kind of keep watching a couple days, okay? So just keep watching.
Okay, so I kind of made out what she said there. So
Basically,
What
in a
she
few
said-
days, if she's getting codes, she'll put them out on the
she's gonna
RSG
try to get the
Discord.
codes. RSG Discord, exclamation Discord in the chat. We'll give you a link to the Discord. If you guys are not there, make sure you head over to our Discord. We might have some codes for you guys in the chat here in the next few days if once McVie is able to reach out to see if we can get some new codes, which are apparently expired now. So there you go.
That is a hell of a light you've got on yourself. Where did that come from?
I know. You just went from, like,
It's the
darkness.
creepy bathroom, the creepy cabin bathroom light. And you can look in the back here and that door is open. That's the screen door. And I keep waiting for like something to come running out at me. Like it is so creepy. We're way in the woods. It is kind of,
It looks like one of
You
those
guys-
haunted churches.
I love
like-
you. If anything happens, I
Right,
love you guys. I'll be back hopefully Friday. And I'm
Wait,
losing signal.
Friday?
So,
Friday.
I mean, next Friday. No, I'll be back on Sunday.
What the hell?
I meant for the State of Survival stream people. I would be on Friday.
But I already pimped like the ACS campaign. I'm like,
Ben, I'm under a lot of stress here trying to get wine bottles open and we're waiting for Jason to pop through. So just leave me alone.
Venom, have you seen the movie Cabin in the Woods? Do you know what happens to that group of people?
Stop it. Because we've already discussed Cabin in the Woods. We've already talked about it. We've already went through the whole thing. So stop.
they can't even find a screw. No good is gonna come to nothing.
We have a wine bottle to bash him over the head with. Though,
You're gonna drink the wine. It's gonna
I'll still
lose
have the
its
bottle.
heft. Yeah, you'll still have the bottle.
I'll
It's
break
gonna
the bottle
lose it.
like a bar. It'll be like a bar scene. I'll break it and stab him.
Let's see how
It'll be
many.
fine. I also
Hello?
have this. I could hit him over the head with this. That'll be fine.
Why don't you just use it to blind him? You know you can do that.
Or that. Okay.
Just don't sleep. That's always a good.
Yeah, you have to
good
sleep
way.
in rotation. Each of you take like a
I
2-hour
probably
shift.
won't.
Like a 2-hour shift, everyone. So somebody you.
It's actually perfect. Have you ever played the game Dead by Daylight? Your cabin.
Stop it. Listen, this is why you guys can't even stay on here with you. Should see the bathroom stalls. They're like super creepy too. Look.
Wait, you have stalls in your cabin?
Yeah, stalls in the cabin. And then there's this window that doesn't have a cover. It's like open to the woods. See?
Yeah, I'm just expecting some like nun to be stood in the corner now and just.
Right?
Yeah, it's scary.
Oh God.
It's gonna be like
I'm just getting old.
The monsters come out mostly at night. Mostly.
Yeah, and you know what all of these witches did? They put me in the bunk closest to the door because I was the last one here.
I would have did that.
You're
Too.
gonna have the wine bottle and they end not to bash someone with it. It's fine.
Yeah.
I'm gonna sleep with the fire.
Isn't that a
sleep
good
with the
place
fire
to be?
extinguisher. You would think, but then if they come through the door, you're the first person they kill.
Yeah, but you have an open window. I feel like that's a bigger danger than the closed door.
Venom, we're gonna hunt these bitch ass killers down. we're gonna hang them and strip them any. Y'all fucking dandy.
Oh,
That's good to hear.
Good old Drusty. That's his name now, by the way. He's Drusty.
Yeah.
Drusty,
Drusty. Yep.
like Daedric, Rusty.
Well, I was gonna say you could call me Rusty Daedric, but that doesn't sound very nice.
No.
No,
Becoming a
it doesn't.
Rusty Daedric does not work out.
Call me Rusty D for short.
Funnier. Look at the showers. The showers don't have any, like, they're just open showers with no doors.
You're in an old military barracks, like an A-frame military barracks that they were like.
Yeah, it's like something. I don't know what it is, but it's pretty when it's daylight. It's very pretty, but it's scary because it's on a lake, like Camp Clearwater, like what is it, Crystal Lake?
You just got to make it to daylight to see it.
somebody.
Yeah. So wish me luck, guys.
Somebody covered the sign. It's actually Silent Hill. If you start hearing sirens, run.
Dude, stop. Y'all gotta stop. I gotta go. Y'all are freaking me out here.
Is this one of the
Drink some
cabins
wine
that I
and
sent
calm
you a
down.
picture of? Is this one of them that I sent you?
dear.
No, this is even worse. No, this is worse.
See, so we're talking about the heroes, right? McVenom has the best thing. So when we do in 359, when we do trap and everything, right? The first thing she says is, Finn, you're free to play. You're going to need all the resources from trap, so you should be a joiner. You just need to be a joiner. I don't think I think since the first trap, I have not been a joiner. I'm fairly sure I've been a setter in every trap since. When is that going to change, McVenom?
What, you've been being a joiner?
Yeah, I've never been. I don't think I've been a
Well,
joiner.
I've told you over and over again to join and not set. Like I tell you every single time.
I know, but I have like one of the higher rally sizes, the March size. Like, yeah.
Okay, but that doesn't matter. Oh, whoa. Oh,
Sounds like you have a bum ass people that don't actually show up to the game ever.
There's this one guy that's like
that's the
27 HQ and doesn't even show up.
that Nero, I'm telling you, he doesn't even show up to 125.
So, but we can just putter along at the level that we're at, Finn, and you need to get gear. Like, honestly, you shouldn't join. You should just you shouldn't be setting. You should join. Let somebody else set. I'm just saying, as a free to play, you really need that gear more than some of the other people that are spending.
Yeah.
Am I robotic?
I would agree to
No, you're good.
No, you're good.
No, easy.
All right.
Yeah, because the best thing is today, McVenom is like, let's go ahead and start trap. And then starts trap and then just disconnect because she lost her connection. And
because I was driving out.
Literally, it was like, let's start trap. Is everyone here? Is everyone here to set? I'm like, I'm here. I don't know who else I'm setting with. And then I was like, let's go ahead and start. And she starts it. We have 2 people set for the first group. And then I'm the only one setting for the second one. There's nobody else. I'm like, who else is setting? There's nobody. Okay, so it was
That's
just like
because I was driving out to the boondocks and I was going through like no signal places, and I told you I might be in and out. So don't you just shush. I'm going. I'm going to protect the cabin. You guys have a great time. I'm sorry I couldn't be there. Allison, hold up the wine. Show them you got it. Woo-hoo! We got it. So we will. Yeah, Allison. They said to protect me from the cabin in the woods people. That's how she's going to protect.
Class right here.
All right, guys, I gotta go. You guys have fun.
Bye.
I'll see you next time. I'll see you on Sunday, right?
Yes.
I get to if I'm still alive, I'll see you on Sunday for the
Yes, and
charity
then we'll
stream.
kill you with the other stuff. So yeah, they're good.
Yay! Bye, guys.
Bye. So
See ya.
okay, so the codes are apparently expired, so that's no fun. But yeah, McVenom today was just hilarious. Literally just started trap and then left, and I'm like, wait, what's going? We had like the weirdest trap today.
Watch us for the codes because everyone's still here, even with the codes being busted.
It's true. It's true.
Thank you for just not loving us for our beautiful codes.
Yes. And once again, this stream is brought to you by Welch's Fruit Snacks. It's not, but it should be. It should be.
Oh Jesus!
Right.
How many Welches are you putting down?
No, it's
today?
one. It's one. I have one during each of my streams. It's moderation too. Once I get the sponsorship, then it'll be more. It'll be like one every hour. But until then, it'll be just one per stream. See, that's the carrot I'm dangling in front of them. Just triple the consumption.
I'd hate to see racing to diabetes or anything along those lines if it was like I'm having 16 an hour.
Sweet. Finn is gonna get sued by Welch's Fruit Snacks. I am saying they haven't sponsored us yet. I want to be. Make it very clear. I want to be sponsored.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
Fruit Snack sponsored my liver failure.
I am not. No. I am perfectly fine. I'm getting ready to run a half marathon and everything. Powered by the power of Welch's Fruit Snacks.
It is real fruit.
It is. It's made with real fruit. It's not real fruit. They're very clear on the packaging that this is not a substitute for your regular. Hold on, I'll give you the exact wording. These fruit snacks are not intended to replace fresh fruit in the diet. Okay, so they're made with fruit, but they're not intended. You see, they have everything covered. The people at Welch's are brilliant. See, that's what it is. They're brilliant people, and I would love to be sponsored by them.
You know,
Okay.
they're made with real love.
Yes.
That's what they're made.
It is family farm owned. That's what I'm saying. Okay, so we completely get derailed by Welch's, which is such a great derailment. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about some more of the heroes. So we talked about Maddie, we talked about Trish, we talked about Jeb, we talked about Nicola a little bit. I mean, it sounds like you guys think Wolf is better than Nicola overall, right? And I think that kind of puts him in the general kind of scheme of things because we got Nicola first. Again, he's a survival of the fittest. We got Nicola just before Wolf, but I think especially when Nicola was there, I was focused on Maddie. So there really wasn't too much time to focus on Nicola as the legendary character to work on. So sounds like Nicola is one that you can kind of ignore through this process, which is fine. We go through with Wolf. Then we have some of the epic ones. Now, I'll ask you guys just in general, right? Basil seems to be one of the newer ones, but are there really any what are the newest generation epic heroes?
That would be for us early states. That would literally be Basil, Candy, and Tony.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I have those. So let's
The
talk
hero.
about those then.
Tony was the hero they hung in front of us forever. It was like, yeah, he's coming. He's coming. Corner. It was like months later when he was actually attainable. And then the newest heroes were like, oh yeah, they're coming. And then boom, they were just there. They were automatically just there. You like opened an epic search and you got them and you're like, what? So you just, and then we're like, oh, sorry, people that got them, we're going to take them away. Not really. We're going to take them out. No, we're going to keep them in. Everyone, you know what? Just continue playing the game. So, but they actually have, you know, as epic heroes go, they actually have pretty good skills. I haven't found a place to use them because their stats aren't legendary. So, but they actually have some pretty good skills. Like if you were just coming in and you're like, oh, you know, because it was especially like, I think Eva and Chef are good for rally joiners. I feel like I was reading through a couple of the skills and I was like, they could be better rally joiners than, you know, like captains for rally joiners than like even chef. So they definitely have a place, but you know, I've yet to find like an actual spot where they would fill into like a pay to play players lineup. But free to play, I'm not sure because it takes a while. You know, I had enough from just playing the game. I had enough purple, you know, blank frags to like max them out completely. You know, but I still like, all right, I've got a max, but you know, I haven't really taken the XP books to kind of get them anywhere besides ranking them. So tough to say. They look cool. Animations look pretty cool. And they're probably better than like Jane. Jane, mm-hmm. I have not used Jane at all, except for once after the stream, just to see what her animation looks like, and it's actually pretty cool. Pew 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 pew.
Let's bring Jane up just for the sake of bringing her up on screen.
I think really the only heroes from purple you'll ever use towards the end is Mike and Travis for infected. Obviously, Mike for explorers and PZs, commute town, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and then Travis just generally for your infected, your fiends.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, I was surprised to hear how many people use Travis exclusively for every intel mission to save on Spamina. I was like, you know, I click on and I'm on there and I just do my intel and I run all my intel. I run all 6 marches going everywhere and eliminate it as fast as possible.
Yeah, the one time I did a PZ with delete, I was like trying to get a group together. I'm like, okay, who wants to do, and I think it was a 21 at the time because I just opened. I'm like, who wants to do a PZ 21? It's like, oh, okay, we have 3 people on. Okay, let's see if we can get one more. And all of a sudden I see like 6 marches going. I'm like, okay, I guess we're starting. It's not like from different people. It's just 6 marches from delete. And it's just like, yeah, we just do it fast. That's the way it is. And I just see delete marches going. And here I am setting like one at a time with Travis. I'm like, I don't have the spam to spare. Travis.
I mean, you'll get to a point where you've got too much.
I did a in 125 level 30 plague zones like finally came out, and I completely soloed it by myself. You know, there was a couple people that are in my like in the like basically in the plague zone group that just got the kind of credit, but I want to see if I could just literally not rally, you know, the bosses or anything along those lines. I think they helped out on Explorer just to kind of help out, but you know, it was like, wow, you know, I think I've done too much. It's like, I think there are like people that are, you know, been playing, you know, consistently for a solid period of time that are like, oh, Pat, you know, level 28 plague zones, I can't even take out mobs, you know, and I was just like, yeah, I'm soloing it all, which is just aggressive. But just goes to show you it is possible out there, kids. If you eat your spinach and you just amp your credit card, you can do it.
I have some important news.
Okay.
I have a cat calendar in my office.
Oh, geez.
Why wouldn't I have a cat calendar in my office? And the oldest cat ever recorded was Cream Puff from Austin, Texas, who was born in 1967 and lived to be 38 years old and passed away in 2005. So this stream is in memory of Cream Puff from Austin, Texas.
Wow. 38 years old. They've had to be wheeling that cat around. Literally.
No, if the name was Cream Puff, they might have just like rolled it.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Yeah.
Good old Cream Puff. R.I.P.
Yeah.
Cream Puff. I am now hungry for Cream Puff.
No, you're hungry for Welch's fruit snacks, okay?
I had my Welch's fruit snack.
Stay on track. Stay on track. You know, you're not being sponsored by Cream Puff.
I'm not sponsored by anyone yet. Not yet. Once I get sponsored, then everything I'm hungry for is whoever wants to sponsor me. And I mean, I eat on stream, so it's fine. Whatever food company wants to sponsor me, I'm here. I prefer Welch's just because I eat the fruit snacks all the time. But I mean, if Hostess wants to sponsor me, no issue there either. Just throwing that out there. Good old Twinkies. Just
wow.
Okay.
But then you can eat nothing but we cat not eating anything else, you're done. And then you're like, my body can't take it. It just can't take anymore.
I will go through that pain. All right. So you answered kind of the other question, which was that even though there's new purple heroes, right? The legendaries are still better than them overall. So question then becomes, at what point do the legendary characters surpass an epic character if an epic character is ahead? Right, and this question comes up with like free to play, for example, where Rusty is like the easiest punchy hero to start off with. So you just work on him, and he's your infantry hero for a long time until you can actually move over to Chef, because typically you're working on Sarge first because of his overall use in terms of your epic heroes. So at what point do you do the switch? Is it a particular rank that you're looking at? Is it just when you get their skills maxed out, they're automatically better? Like what is kind of the cutoff where you use an epic over a rare hero, and particularly that's mainly Rusty, because you get a replacement for Ghost pretty quick. So replacement for Rusty in particular over rare, but then more common question now, especially for newer players, legendary over epic. Daedric, how do you determine whether or not to use like a epic versus a legendary? Is there any criteria in particular, or what do you look at?
Yeah, it's primarily based on rank of the hero, and the reason that's the case, especially today with today's legendary heroes, is once you hit Lieutenant Colonel, the skills are automatically 5. So you're no longer having to use legendary skill books for legendary hero skills. They rank up automatically as you rank up the hero. So once you hit Lieutenant Colonel, they're all 5, but once you hit about Captain or Major, for the majority of legendary heroes, they're automatically better than Epic. So what you're looking at is when you click, if you go into the hero menu and you go to the rank up arrow, which then prompts you for adding frags, you can actually click the stats. So you can see the stats of your hero. Just compare the stat menu with the Epic hero, and you'll already see the difference. In most cases, Epic heroes are not rally or siege specific, and that's referring to rally buffs and PvP buffs. So I actually, as a matter of fact, I don't think any Epic hero has siege, and I don't think any Epic hero has rally. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm just going off of random memory here. I don't think any of them have rally or siege. So automatically, your legendary hero already has an advantage, even from cadet rank, of having a rally boost, a siege boost, and a patrol boost, which none of your epic heroes can provide.
I'm going through them right now just to check. I'm not seeing anything.
Yeah, like that's like the third buff that's added for being legendary.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense.
The Explorer part, Finn. Just not military. Click Explorer.
The Explorer only shows health, attack, and defense.
Yeah, but it will show 3 little boxes at the top, or 2, depending on if it's epic or whatever. Oh, click where it says wolf with the arrow. That's the one. Yeah, click that and it will go back.
Oh, you're talking about the stuff at the top. I gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. So hold on. I was looking for a buff of some, like it was actually listed as a buff. No, so it's all infected. There is a siege. There's one epic siege, which is Ava. I don't see
so if you're
rally.
Yeah, so if you're a free to play player and you're not putting a dime into the game, you're probably going to use Eva in a PvP. Like if you're actually attacking somebody, you probably use her because she's siege. But again, even with a hero at cadet rank, like you haven't even touched them, they already have an advantage because they're legendary. But again, once you hit about Captain or Major, you can already use them because they're pretty much better than every epic hero you have in your roster. But once, as I mentioned before, once you hit Lieutenant Colonel, in today's operation system, the way they're using the heroes, the skills will automatically rank to 5.
So let me ask you about that, because I took Maddie to Lieutenant Colonel, and her abilities did not go to 5. I had to use the books.
Gen 1. She's Gen 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
It only to Gen. It only applies to Gen 4 and higher.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
Zoe and Ash are the last ones you'll have to use skill books.
Okay. And that was going to be another question that I was going to ask, because we've been talking heavily about legendary heroes, right? And accumulating the frags in order to rank up the character is definitely a limitation. And you have to kind of either, if you're spending, you need to be focused on particular heroes that you know you're going to be utilizing long term and not necessarily worry about the early ones. But especially if you're free to play, frags are an issue, but the skill books are definitely an issue. For me, it took me like only recently, since working on Maddie, and Maddie has been my primary focus, only recently did I get all of her abilities to level 5. So it takes a long time. And again, this is from someone that does like always was trying to get like top 100 and even got top 50 in like survival of the fittest, tried to get into the ranks of even those like special events and those kind of things. So I've been trying to stay competitive in those and trying to gain a lot of things. So it's good to know that Gen 4 and later you don't have to worry about the skill books. But it's still a while because we're only on Gen 2 right now, right? So we have another whole generation of heroes to come out before that. And Zoe is a 3, right? I think is Zoe a 3 or a 4?
Zoe
Zoe's
is
Gen 3.
3.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that means she is going to need the skill books. So what are the best ways to get skill books? Since we're focusing on legendary heroes. Yeah, go ahead, Sen.
In your state, do you have the biker carnival or do you have the other one? I forgot the name of it.
The biker carnival? I don't think we have a biker carnival. At least I haven't seen one yet.
Feel like they've done away with Biker Carnival.
Do they okay.
Because that used to be the best
racing
skill book resource. You know, it was like you had to you got keys to chests and, you know, they were not a great value. But if you needed skill books, you know, it was definitely a solid place to get them. You could kind of milk that event for skill books.
Furry is saying we don't have the biker carnival. We have the speed racing. We do get the nitro things.
Yeah. Speed racing is the newest kind of version of it, and it's a lot more user friendly because you just get it by playing the game and doing the thing you're supposed to do in the game. Biker Carnival was kind of a little bit more of a pay to play, but you could use biocaps to kind of boost yourself up to the next level, and it was probably the most effective use for of biocaps for skill books. You know, because the correlation was pretty solid. You could bump yourself up to the next level and unlock it and so forth, but there was a pay-to-play portion of it where you could like spend $10 and unlock the second half of the rewards, which weren't really that great. But if you're going to just kind of get it done quickly, it was definitely one of the better ways to do it. But yeah, it's been replaced by the racing event. I feel like skill books, bunkers and facilities, because there's always there were 2 bunkers and facilities that gave away skill books. But besides that, I don't know if there's really a great way to kind of milk the game for skill books.
The other way is race place, getting the spins.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Oh,
yeah.
And then just hoping you get the books from the spins.
Yeah.
Well, you get the spins, but then you also get every 5, 15, and then some others, and each time it goes up and gives you a certain amount of books.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, if you're buying. Right.
Yeah. I've only gone up to the 15s usually. I haven't gone beyond those because I'm kind of waiting right now for the Zoe one, right? So I didn't really go too heavy on this one because it's Trish right now. I don't think I'll be using Trish too much. So
you complete your dailies, your last skill book is you get skill books in the last crate.
yes.
Mako, which is, you and him should actually sit down and talk, because he is probably the most efficient free-to-play player I've seen, solid player, and he's definitely worked the game as much as possible. So that's a very good point, is that in your dailies, when you get the last crate, you get a skill book.
I think that's the only way I have been accumulating them. Yeah, go ahead, Sin.
No, I'm just saying that you get 4 skill books from a daily, which, I mean, it doesn't seem like a lot, but in the long run, it does actually help you out quite a bit.
All right.
I would like to see them bring back the Biker Carnival just for the new estates, because they haven't had that, and we've had it. We got our skills books, maxed out our skills pretty quick with that.
Yeah, definitely does help.
Yeah. All right. So we have all of this now with the heroes, and I'll let you guys talk about it because I can't bring it on screen. So I'll just guys let you talk about it. You guys have talked about some of the other heroes like Ash, Miho. So I'll just kind of go to each of you guys, and you guys can pick one of the newest generation heroes. We'll start with Delete. So the Gen 4 heroes. Actually, we have to go through 4 and 5. We don't really have those right now. So
technically, Miho, Ash, and Zoe are Gen 3, and then Jarrett, Ernie, what's his name, Zach, and the 3 new ones, they're all Gen 4.
Okay. So we have to talk about 3 also. Yeah, we haven't gone through 3. We only have 2 so far on this date. So yeah, we have a lot of heroes to talk about. So let's start going through those. So we'll just kind of go to each of you guys. Let's start with we talked about Zoe, right? So we have one of the Gen 3s covered so far. So Delete, pick one of the other Gen 3s and go ahead and talk about that. And then Sin, you can take the other Gen 3 hero, whichever it is.
Yeah,
I don't know the names of it.
I don't know. Ash is a pretty solid punchy hero. Stats are high. She's actually an explorer mission. She's kind of throws a landmine out there, which is actually pretty strong. So it can actually stun and pause enemies as they're coming to you, which was definitely very helpful when you're like basically doing a level that you kind of shouldn't beat, but if you catch the right sequence, you can kind of beat. If you're trying to earn and burn like XP that way using your bread to kind of like just rank up your heroes, which you can do pretty effectively if you want to sit through and just watch explorer missions go past. You can do so that way. It's pretty effective though. But Ash is pretty solid. I used Ash in Kamute Town in my lineup a lot. Just to, there were different buffs and enhancements or debuffs that you came across every tile. So you could use that. She was actually in my trap lineup for a pretty good amount of time. When I do the event where you have to donate to your Alliance store, get the special token that unlocks like a Travis infected hunter, you get those. I used her a lot in that because she's actually a pretty good damage dealer when it comes to that. So I would use it was for me, I think the highest attack I got out of it was going to be Jeb, Miho, and Ash. Using those 3 together actually did a pretty good amount of damage. In some scenarios, depending on how it all filtered out, Nicola actually would perform pretty well there. So I would kind of substitute and kind of play around with my lineup to kind of maximize the effect, which is strange because you would think, the higher stats heroes would perform better in Explorer, and that's just not always the case. So there is some variances there, where you do get some usefulness out of older heroes in certain aspects. They aren't critical to the game, so it's kind of a way that the game tries to keep them around. But Ash is pretty solid. Animation's cool. She looks cool. So that's kind of that's my spiel on Ash.
Okay, and then Sin, you want to take the other Gen 3, and then Daedric, I'll let you pick the first Gen 4 hero that you want to talk about.
The Gen 3, which one have we mentioned?
We have Ash and Zoe, so...
Miho.
I actually didn't really level up Zoe until it was a bit too late, to be honest. She's a really good hero. Definitely gonna increase your stats a lot more than most of other ones, since you really rely on hunters when you're doing trap. So when she comes out, obviously, I'd say focus her quite a bit.
You're talking about Zoe?
Yeah, Zoe, yeah.
Okay, what about Miho? Because I know we went through Zoe a little bit. I think Miho is the other Gen 3.
Me, I don't really know for Miho, to be honest. Like that, I've not really used it all that much. So for me, that would be better if Daedric or Delete mentioned her.
Yeah, Miho's solid because she does a pretty good amount of like debuffs when you're doing like attacking, PvP. She'll go ahead and just like decimate like another player's I feel like it's attack. But she's a very strong character. She cracks my lineup more often than not in a lot of scenarios. One of them actually, I'll use her in Trap. I will use her in Explorer. I will use her in like the Infected, event. She's very useful. Her Explorer mission kind of like special, or her like skill is the Smoke Bomb, which is probably the worst thing about her. It could save you, but you would wish that she would do a little bit more damage as far as that's concerned. But she does enhance the other players pretty solidly. So you can kind of like again, I mean, I talk about Explorer missions because it just is what it is. I mean, it's a part of the game, and it's something that's kind of like not really focused on by a lot of people, but it is a part of the game that some people actually love. How you feel about that is up to you, but she's solid. Miho is a very solid character, definitely a end game character that you can use in multiple venues. So when you can get her, I would recommend getting her because she does provide value until you are getting like Ernie and Zach and Jesus.
Jarrett.
Jarrett. Yeah. I actually thought about flirting with the idea of bringing was it Zach or Jarrett back, because their skills, one of them amplifies the damage skills like crazy and will make you do so much more damage. But I decided against it because it's, the exchange store is there for like changing out your heroes. And I definitely don't want to be caught on the wrong side of the store when they flip that coin and turn it off because the stat boost that you get from the newest heroes out of the exchanges are tremendous. I mean, it boosts your stats. My stats were at 640 roughly across the board, and now they're over 700. So it's a significant increase just from adding heroes. So, I definitely want to keep that.
Gotcha. All right. So that covers the Gen 3. We've covered the initial ones. We've covered Gen 2. Now Gen 3. So let's jump into Gen 4. Daedric, which Gen 4 hero do you want to talk about?
Well, tricky question, because it is technically Gen 5. So Sin is right to a degree. It's on par with Gen 4 because it's a straight exchange to the new hero. Like, you're actually not spending money, but it's technically Gen 5 because anytime you release a new set, it's considered new generation. Luckily, Gen 5 doesn't cost you anything because, again, you can exchange straight across. We don't even need to talk about Ernie, Zach, or Jarrett. If you have not exchanged them, you need to. They're better in every way. If somebody is using Ernie, Zach, or Jarrett, and they have not exchanged them to Tyler, Brooke, and Julia, you need to do that. Their stats are like, we're talking 390% max at general versus 315. Significant difference. You could argue the skills for sure. So, there's some skills for Ernie, Zach, and Jarrett that are, potentially better than Tyler, Brooke, and Julia. But again, the attack and defense boost you get just from exchanging them far outweighs what the skills would ever do. Yeah. So with that being said, my focus would be on Brooke. So when Ernie came out, I had enough frags because it cost 1,200 frags to get a hero to general. Exactly 1,200. The majority of that, 600, so half of your 1,200 comes from Colonel to General. So just that one rank difference is 600 frags, which is just insane. So I maxed out Ernie right away because he's infantry. As Delete and I have been talking about past couple streams, infantry is the most important troop in the game right now. And that's based off of they're the first to take damage, they're the first to die. You know, if you take a settlement hit, infantry is your first line of defense. So I made sure to go for Ernie right away. And then luckily when the exchange happened, you know, nobody was aware that it would just be an exchange of heroes. You know, obviously I was really happy that I did that with Ernie because then I got Brooke at full rank. So, you know, definitely a great trio. The cool thing with the Gen 5 is you can put them all on your wall. I've never had a set of heroes besides potentially Miho, Ash, and Zoe, but even then I actually didn't use the 3 of them on the wall. I had a different set. But Gen 5 you can actually have as your A march and you can have on the wall as defense because they have the patrol ability as well. I think the majority of them. So they just provide a really great bonus. By far the best heroes, obviously, that the game's released so far. I don't know the reasoning why it was an exchange, though. I don't know what the thought process was with King's Group to release such powerful heroes and just exchange them. Like, it doesn't make sense to me, right? You got to think about the development that went into Ernie, Zach, and Jared. That's a lot. Like, it takes time to develop those characters, and then all of a sudden, here you go. Here's a new set, and you completely lose Ernie, Zach. Like, you never see them again. So. Right.
It was definitely like people would have paid for the newer gen. You know, people would have definitely paid for the newer heroes. And I, you know, in the back of my mind, I thought it was because they didn't do enough separation with Ernie, Zach, and Jarrett from Miho, Zoe, and Ash that they felt like they kind of fooled you there. You know, there should have been probably like 30% difference or like kind of increment from like last gen to new gen, because that's sort of the formula they've kind of come up with. And then they basically just skipped ahead as if like Zach, Ernie, and Jared had that, you know, added buff over Miho, Zoe, and Ash, and just said, you know what, we're going to boost it even more, you know, but we're going to give it to them for free. And it just didn't really line up with a lot of things. But, you know, from an outsider perspective in this game, there is a lot of things that don't add up necessarily in this game. And that was just one of the pieces. I was very thankful that I didn't have to pay for them. You know, I had all of them at basically max level and exchanged them immediately. And it happened like right before Capital, which was strange. So it was like, at first I thought I could only do one hero, did a rally with that one hero and was like, oh, wow, I see a big, massive thing. And then I see, you know, my number 2 player when I joined Capital, and he's like using all the new heroes, and I went back in and I saw the hero precinct and I was like, oh, I can exchange them all immediately. So I did so, and it made a significant difference over anyone that didn't, you know, have them done. To the point where it's like, if you are going against someone that has Zach, Ernie, and Jarrett, and you're using the newest heroes, you are absolutely murdering them, just completely destroying them without question. Yeah, big, massive difference. I will say though that them in Explorer missions, they're awful. They're absolutely awful in Explorer missions.
Yeah.
Which is just insane. Actually, I forget her name, but she replaces Miho, and she shoots this web out and gives you like a boost to your ability to use kind of their like special abilities, where you'll look down and all of a sudden it's the first time I've ever seen that bar maxed out. So you can kind of use her to really kind of expand upon like everyone else's. It was to the point where I was using her with Nicola, and I had 8 Nicola's Teslas up, just completely decimating the map. You know, so that was pretty cool. It was pretty funny. It looked like I was using like a bot, you know, to kind of like spam it. So that was pretty interesting. But yeah, in Explorer missions, they were absolutely awful. Like in Commentate Town, it was just like, it was not even a question that you were not using them. I think I used the Brawler or the Punchy hero at most, but that was about it.
Sin, what are your thoughts on the Gen 4/5 heroes?
I'm gonna agree with Daedric and Delete here. Those heroes, if you're running the old ones, you're playing wrong. Like the stats far outweigh everything else that everyone will agree on. As for getting them, I mean, I'm gonna say that they should probably have been a separate generation where you could buy them.
That is an
Other than
interesting
that,
thing about the exchange, right? I haven't seen that too often in a game that monetizes on trying to get you to get the newest character, hero, whatever it is they release, to then allow you to do an exchange. Um, I mean, there's a few potential reasons, right? I think Delete, you brought up one issue, which is maybe they thought the Gen 4 wasn't too separated enough from the Gen 3 that they wanted to give you a better value, which would be a nice thing to do on the part of King's Group, right? The other issue there may be that do you think that a Gen 6 is just around the corner, which is why they're doing it. So now you're separating the 4 by turning them into a 5 from the 3.
So here's the thing though, because they did put out a post on Facebook a few weeks ago, which stated that any state from 171 plus, when they get the Gen 4 heroes onto their state, they will only get the new 3. They will not get Jarrett, Ernie, or Zach.
Wow. So
So
they've
It's just a straight.
completely erased from the game.
Yeah.
Pretty much from 171 plus, they're erased. Yeah.
It just seems like an obsessive amount of creativity lost.
Yeah.
You know, out of nowhere. Because it's like, you know, to put those battle mechanics in and their skills were so different. You know, they were actually even like tough for most of the players that are really diving into it to explain how their skills actually work in battle mechanics to make, you know, to kind of maximize the lineup. You know, originally I thought when you start to make the percentages closer, it allows you to kind of mix and match more heroes to allow for more effectiveness of heroes that you've invested in and maybe make it not feel like, wow, this was completely useless that I rank these characters up, you know, because then they were still close. You know, it was only a percentage point here, percentage point there. You know, you could kind of mix and match old and new and you really have to read through the skills of what was going to be the most dynamic lineup for you, you know, depending on how your talent and your talent tree and your research had come along, you could kind of make up the deficit if it's close. You know, like if you were using a weaker stabby, as they say in the trades, a weaker stabby hero, you could just boost your stabby hero talents or research to stabby hero, and then you could use an older hero and as a stabby and kind of make it compete, you know. But then they completely went against that, and they were just like, yeah, we're going back to this. So it was just very strange. It's just very strange, you know. And then they come out with new heroes that you can completely exchange. And they didn't even charge reserves. You know, there was nothing. It was completely free. You know, it was like there was absolutely wasn't like, oh, do this event and get it or anything along those lines. It was just like, here it is, you know. And in a game that doesn't really seem to like it to admit mistakes very often, this was like, yeah, we kind of whatever. It was almost like, it was almost like we stole these characters from another game. We have to give them back now. You know, like pretend like they weren't there. Shh, everyone, shh. No Zach, Ernie, and Jared. They're gone. It was so strange. I'm thankful. I am completely thankful. You know, but I mean, everything that's done in this game is done across the board. So, you know, it's not necessarily an advantage or a disadvantage because everyone's doing the same exact thing. So, yeah, it was just odd. It's a very odd thing.
Yeah. So, if you guys have any questions or anything like that, feel free to drop them into the chat. I think we've covered all of the heroes, right? And I think these guys have done a good job for everyone, regardless of your play level, to have an idea about what to do, right? They're obviously in much higher states. Daedric is in 42, Sin and Delete 125, right?
Yep.
And so they've been playing for a while. So they're definitely a lot more pro at this game. 359 is my first one. And so coming from a newer perspective, I think anyone that's a newer player, and I know a lot of you guys have been joining the RSG Alliance in 359 and are newer players. So I think the best part about this is exactly as Daedric mentioned earlier. So I'm just going to repeat it. The newer players can learn a lot from what the veteran older states are doing with their heroes. It allows you to plan. It allows you to try and figure out where to put some of your resources. And even some things like what I learned today, which is like those value vouchers don't carry over to like the later value vouchers and stuff, right? If anyone else had the same general idea, then you know that you want to spend those quickly. It's not worth holding on to those. And you have an idea about which heroes you can work on now that may seem good, but which ones actually have some longevity into the future, right? You want to work on stuff now, especially if you're a newer player, whether you're a spender or not. You want to work on stuff that's going to last you down the line. So you don't want to start investing in things that then becomes obsolete in like a month. You want it to stay. And these guys have done a great job so far with going through all of the heroes. We went through the heroes that I have, which are the OG heroes, and then Gen 2. And then they went over the Gen 3 and Gen 4. So we went, I should say 4, 5. So we went through all of the heroes. So if you guys have any questions specifically about the heroes or just any State of Survival questions, feel free to put them in the chat. We'll get those. We'll try to get those answered here. While we wait for the questions to come in chat, though, I'm just going to take the second once again to talk about this weekend, because for RSG, it's a big weekend. We are starting our charity fundraiser once again for the American Cancer Society. We have raised over $40,000 over the past 3 years for charities, and we plan to continue that with our annual fundraising campaign, which starts this weekend as a big kickoff with starting off as a 12-hour stream, potentially will go up to 36 hours. And for those of you here, I will give you guys a little bit of a surprise. There is a chance it could go to 38. Okay? I'm not going to explain how. It'll depend how the stream goes. But we have to go from 12 to 24, then 36, and there may be an opportunity for a very special additional 2 hours at the very end. So make sure you guys come out this weekend. Even if you can't give to our campaign and you can't donate, perfectly fine. You guys just come out, have fun. We're doing this for, again, we're doing this for charity, but we're also doing this because we have RSG. While we started covering State of Survival like 23 weeks ago now, our goal has been to develop just an awesome gaming community. And I can say, at least for a lot of us that are coming from like Galaxy of Heroes, the State of Survival people have been awesome. You've been perfect fits with the Skewer community. We love having you guys here. It's not just about State of Survival. It's not just about Galaxy of Heroes. It's not about any of the other specific games. It is just a bunch of gamers coming together, talking about games, having fun, and then trying to build a community that makes a difference in the community. And so that's what we plan on doing, and hopefully you guys are able to come out and just have fun with us. Let other people know if you guys want. Just let them come and hang out with us. That's all that matters. So go ahead and keep getting in your questions here, but I did want to talk about that, and that'll begin at 10 a.m. Eastern Time tomorrow, and then go potentially until Monday. The way that the schedule is going, it might go until, and that's Eastern Time, 10 a.m. Eastern Time tomorrow until midnight Monday morning, so 12:01 a.m. Eastern. So yes, all of you guys just come out. So I'm looking. I don't think a lot of people have questions. There's a lot of people that were throughout the chat kind of agreeing with you guys, which is nice, right? And I see newer players, I see older players in there, which is awesome that everyone is kind of having the same general ideas about the heroes. A lot of questions have been coming up, especially about like which heroes are worth it. So, yeah. Let's see. Buzzsaw has a question. It says, other than spamming help on 2-hour heal cycles, any other tricks or tips for healing during Capital Clash?
Yeah. Load up on your talent points, talent researches, and just kind of make sure that you switch as often as you can. You know, after a while, it becomes second nature. I mean, if you're VIP 12, which is crazy because it's a pretty significant investment for a lot of people, you can just, you know, you get the instant talent switch, which is nice. Makes things a lot easier. But there are also quirks to that, as Sin actually pointed out to me during our last capital, because I have now 239 talent points, and when you go to basically where you're just switching from battle to economic or battle to whatever you're going to choose, your march times will change. So if you're trying to sync marches and you're not in battle and the other person is, or you're switching between battle, and make sure that your march times actually do line up with the sync that you're in at the moment, which is big. But besides that, no, you kind of, I've definitely learned that there's, depending on how many people are on during your battle, you should kind of plan out how many you can just speed through. I feel like for me, when we have about 37 to 38 people on, I just type in 2,222 troops, and it basically goes by in an instant, as soon as I press it. So find that happy medium in your little slide bar to make sure that you kind of get the right amount of troops. So this way, anyone that clicks help is maximizing, that build down, because there is a certain time where, if you go a little bit over, you're waiting a lot longer. So, less troops, the better. Sometimes find that instant spot and just kind of spam that. So this way you can utilize the people that are on for as many helps as you can.
And I'm gonna go into that really quick because I know there's a bunch of people in chat. I'll just so in 359 we had kind of a battle over a center. We didn't win the battle because for a lot of people being new, this was like the first time they were fighting and just kind of getting used to it, right? And the concept of small batch healing actually did come up. And so it's, I think, something worthy of an explanation for you guys. And I'm kind of showing it on the screen as I'm doing it kind of as we're talking here. But the concept of a small batch heal is that when you have a bunch of troops that are wounded and in your hospital, right? If you just go directly into it, it's going to show that you have a timer, and mine is going to be much lower than your guys because the higher the troops, the longer it takes to heal them too. But it may show that you have like a total heal time of like a day. It might show something like 12 hours is what I had earlier, but I've seen it go up to like 2 days sometimes, even just with the amount of troops that your hospital can hold and how many are wounded. The one thing you'll notice though, as long as your hospital is not under construction, when you start a heal, you will get the ability to hit that little handshake icon above it, which will ask your alliance to assist. Every assist reduces that by, I believe, 2 minutes, right? So you'll knock that off by 2 minutes every time you start a heal. So if you have, like Delete was saying, let's say you have 30 people online, if all 30 hit that handshake in order to assist you, you're dropping 1 hour off of the time for that heal. So the idea is that you adjust the timer so that the heal time is 1 hour. You ask for the assist, everyone assists, it's done. And you just keep on doing those in small batches of 1 hour time periods so that they just keep on assisting and it clears out. So you're not waiting the 2 days in order to do it. You just have to like continually do these small batches. But in like the war type situations, you guys should all be active anyways and clicking those and making sure you're paying attention to it. So that's the concept behind the small batch healing, for because I recognize some of the names in chat and everything. Then that's the concept behind that. If you had any questions, anything else to add to that, or did I explain it well enough? What do you guys? Anything?
No, that's right on the spot. That's exactly what it is, and that's how you utilize the system to not go ahead and have to force use your like healing timing, which are probably best suited for Reservoir Raid more than anything else, because that's when you can't really, spam help to help people. It's literally you have to use those speed ups then, and they are invaluable depending on how close the battle is. I mean, that could make the difference between winning and losing the war. So definitely small batch healing is definitely the way to go. And it was probably the biggest outcry I've ever seen of a gaming population ever when they took it away. And they kind of like just changed that immediately because it was something that everyone had gotten used to. And it was definitely a solid way to kind of make sure that an entire alliance, if you have an entire active alliance, you're utilizing that fact. That's why, you could use that help to kind of fuel that. So, it was, definitely an invaluable thing to kind of utilize and learn. And Finn just kind of laid it out beautifully, because that's exactly what you should do. Depending on your alliance, find out where that sweet spot is, where it instantly goes away and you're no longer waiting, and kind of going back in and just kind of doing that process is the best way to kind of, tip the scales in your capital clash or fortress or bunkers, whatever the case may be.
All right. I don't see any other questions here.
I'm going to pair with that though. With the batch healing, also work on your alliance tech. Like, that plays a big factor in it. Since you said you get 2 minutes per help, state 125 we get like 4.5 minutes, I think it is.
Yeah.
So,
and we're
yeah,
almost maxed out. I think we get up to 45 people can assist you, at maximum.
I'm
mine
actually,
is
I clicked that on
47. Yours
earlier.
is probably 50ish. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's, that's all, and that's basically all your alliance tech. In the newer states, it's a little bit different. The alliance techs, the branches are much more expanded out.
Yeah. But I can show that here in ours, because we have that. I just actually switched us over to it. We just completed it. But there's 2 of them here. There's the healing speed ups, and there's also the timer helps. So you can get more people to assist. You can also then increase your speed up time, increase the healing speed for alliance. So the combination of all of that increases how quickly you can get those up. So, and I noticed quickly that those are really important. So every time I get the ability, I'm just like swapping between these 2, leveling up the other ones to make sure. You'll figure out the priority ones. I figured it out pretty quickly. Like, what's the most important ones, especially if you get into like battle situations. There's some that become a lot more clutch than other ones. So, yeah. So Alliance Tech is a good call, Sin. Those are definitely things to work on. And there's another timer help earlier too.
I remember in a question that was really early on, and all because your troops get wounded and then you heal them, it does not make them more inclined to get wounded next time. So it sounded weird in the beginning, and it still sounds weird, but I wanted to point it out just in case anyone was thinking that.
You should just put a T1 on in your roster. It never dies. I've noticed the T1 freaking never dies. I tried that one time. Like, I made T1s just to see what happens if I just took it there. The freaking T1s just like always survived every single freaking. I hate those things. Then I upgraded them. I'm like, I can't keep those anymore. It's awful.
I had that for the longest time. I had like I had around 600k troops, and about 300,000 of them were just tier 1s to tier 5s. But it's not a smart choice. Like, when it comes to it, if you get attacked, they're getting hit first. They fill up your hospital. Then all your tier 9s, tier 10s, all that are going to fill up your enlistment. You're going to lose basically most of your tier 10s due to that fact.
Yeah.
So stay away from tier 1 to 5.
Yeah, my last hardcore soloing someone, they decided to build a ton of T3s so they could put T3s in a rally, and the losses would be absorbed by the T3, and the rest of their troops would basically survive. Yeah, their overall damage of the rally was lower, but the only troops that they were losing were, a smaller amount. But then that only works in that scenario. So then when I soloed them and I completely came close to zeroing, I had decimated all of their T3s. Their hospital was full of T3s, and then all of their 16-hour troops were just washed away, or in enlistment. And it just, that is something that could be catastrophic in rebuilding and taking time to kind of get you back to where you were, just because you wanted to save on one little aspect of the game. So build your troops carefully. And, I'm a big believer of just having the top 2 tiers that you have available built. It's definitely the smartest way to go. And it basically makes you as strong as possible. Because especially, in a lot of fights, it really does turn down to how many troops you have and how many rapid, like attacks that you can do against someone else. Because if they can't refill with strong troops and you have more strong troops, you could basically just continually just wither them down, where they can't heal them fast enough, and you can kind of keep sending attacks. of strong level and basically overtake them. So, you know, it's an invaluable thing to just have the top 2 tiers built.
All right. We did get another question in from Resto. He's in state 39, but also in 359. So there's Resto. His question is, what hero formation would you go for in state first stage to capital? Daedric, I'll ask you this one.
Yes, I was mentioning earlier my A March, B March, and C March. So always have presets, by the way, to everybody. Just it's great to have custom marches. Just it's easy to select. Hey, this is my trap march. This is my PvP. This is my farming or whatever else you're doing. Best formation right now today is Brooke, Julia, and Tyler. That's if you have Gen 5. If you don't have Gen 5, next best, Miho, Ash, and Zoe. Gen 4. Next best, Gen 3. Trish, Jeb, and Ray. If you have Ray unlocked, if you don't have him unlocked, there's Wolf. But so for his question, luckily he's in state 39, so he's in the exact same position that Delete and I are in right now, hero-wise. So to answer his question, Julia, Brooke, and Tyler is your best formation, should be your A March again. B March should be the 3 ladies, and C March should be Jeb, Trish, and Ray if you have Ray. If not, you can replace them with another infantry hero.
Do you play around with who you captain in each 3? Do you have a different captain, or do you just stick with like, oh, you know, my punchy hero is always my captain, or you know, I would use my stabby hero as captain? To explain it. I
always use the infantry hero as my captain because infantry's been such a shift, like game mechanic wise. Infantry is the new hunter, actually, really, because hunters used to be the infantry. Now the infantry is the new hunter. So my stats in my war tree, you know, where you're purchasing your hero gear first, all that stuff, like infantry. And that's why I mentioned when Finn was asking a question earlier, you know, who's your most important hero, you know, Gen 4 or 5, it's absolutely Brooke. That's why I maxed out Ernie first. And when obviously I got the benefit of having Brooke right away at general, infantry is where it is at today, for sure.
Is that different also for, so I'm aware of the differences kind of in the trap. Is it the same in PvP where the person that's setting the rally are they using infantry, or is it best if the setter in a PvP rally is using something more offensive because their stats are going to be determining whether or not you take over the capital, right? And then the joiners are using the infantry in order for the boost, or how do you balance the leaders between the rally setter and then the joiners in a PvP battle?
I mean, you want to, you know, the first person in, because infantry soaks up so much damage, the first person in your rally setter should be, you know, an infantry person. And then everyone that comes in after that should keep like their skills in mind for their captain hero. So they shouldn't just follow along with infantry. It should be like, you know, a Jeb as their captain, a Sarge as their captain, an Eva as their captain, and kind of cascade so your damage output is that much stronger. I mean, that's my own personal opinion. It's tough when you're in that scenario, because typically what happens, at least in 125, is, you know, I pop a rally, and before you can even say anything or set anything, people are automatically hitting the button. You know, we're at the point where it's like, no, you've got to have the proper troop makeup in your rally also, you know, because we're trying to shoot for a specific percentage of infantry in our rally and specific number of riders and hunters in our rally to make sure that we can kind of win and then defend against someone else coming. So you want to go ahead and make sure that you're just, you know, it used to be equal was best, and then equal being best hasn't been that way in quite some time. And then it was, you know, almost like 80% infantry was actually pretty solid. And then now it's, you know, it's teetering against who you're fighting. Frankly, you know, ideally you probably want to shoot for a 50% infantry kind of makeup, you know, to kind of have the best results, the most even, but you almost have to see what's coming, you know, before, you know, as you see it, you know, to really kind of decide the outcome. Because there is some playing there where, you know, the next person that's reinforcing you right before that rally hits, you know, fills in with a corresponding, recon that you're seeing from the rally, and you can see their troops and their amounts, you should try and either match it or kind of maximize any, differences that you see to kind of make sure that you see that rally and you beat that rally if stats are close enough where it's decided between the two.
What, anything else from you, Daedric or Sin, on that? In terms of just PvP rally leader composition?
Yeah, it's it's important that you manage your war buffs appropriately. I'm going to use the VIP store as a great example. So at a certain VIP level, like I'm at VIP 12, so I have access to the full store. But the war buffs are very expensive. When you're purchasing things in the VIP store, it costs you biocaps. And it's a lot of biocaps. It's 9,000 biocaps per buff, legendary buff, which is a 12% increase, huge increase. So for example, increasing your March capacity by 12%, that's 10,000 biocaps. So I generally keep 3 or 4 of each on hand. I generally use them up in a couple of weeks just because I'm doing bunkers or capital or whatever the case may be, but use them wisely. If you're in a situation where you're going up against someone where their stats are just not there, and even if they're double or triple rallying you and you're safe, don't waste material. A lot of people will use the buffs just to get that extra muscle, but they didn't actually need it. So you're wasting in the span of one event 50,000 biocaps worth of war buff. Because if you activate every single buff, it's over 50,000 biocaps worth of material. And that has a huge impact. We were talking a couple weeks ago, Finn, if you remember, switching between attack, defense, and health and lethality in your tree. What's the difference between all of them? Those have a huge impact. Attack and defense, in the algorithm, we're talking about the percent chance of doing damage, the percent chance of killing the troop, a percent chance of deflecting attack, right? They're all percent chances of doing something. That's why health and lethality are more important in PvP, because you will actually have players who have a better health and lethality beat players who have a better attack and defense. Just right now in today's mechanics, health and lethality will override attack and defense. So if somebody has full hero gear, they will beat somebody with full chief gear in most cases. And that's assuming that, heroes are relatively the same and rest of the stats are relatively the same. Hero gear will beat chief gear. That's why it's more expensive, right? So these are all different facets just to keep in mind going, where are you wanting to focus? This affects your rally leader composition because your heroes will be determined by who has the better statistics.
Okay. I think anything else to add, Sin?
No, they pretty much covered that one, actually.
Yes, they did. Trying to see if there's any other questions here. There's kind of a fun question, Sin, and I have to say I agree with this. A question from Buzzsaw. Does anyone else have that one infantry guy who constantly gets wounded during Horde? I think I need to name that guy. How does Lucky sound? Wait, somebody already took the name Lucky. So, do you have that one infantry guy that always seems to die in every wave of Horde? And what would you name him, Sin? You get to name him as our special guest today.
He pretty much dies for everybody. It's common, like until you're getting into those late stages, obviously. And that sounds more like unlucky, but that's just me.
We'll call him Unlucky. Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
His name is now officially Unlucky. There we go. So there's a Lucky already in game. This one is named.
No, we got an Unlucky.
He's Unlucky. There we go. So, there we go. I think that is the stream for today, guys. So we will head over to Discord and hang out in the State of Survival voice chat for a little bit as an after party. So come out and hang over there. I'll be there for a little while. I am going to be working on stuff for the charity campaign tomorrow, so hopefully you guys can be there at 10 a.m. But we will hang out there. We'll have some fun and chat. If you guys still have any questions about State of Survival, come over there, hang out. Plus, you guys don't have to talk about State of Survival. We talk about all kinds of nonsense in there too. So it's just a bunch of fun. But State of Survival obviously is the channel. So if you guys have those, you guys can go ahead and talk about that. Any last words from you guys before we sign out here?
Great job, Finn.
Thank you. So I'm going to ruin it now. So what I'm going to do is I am going to give you the intro that I missed, that you guys missed at the beginning. Okay? So I'm going to end with the intro that you guys all missed. And that's how we're going to end the stream here. Okay? So, here we go. We're going to end it the way it should have started. Yeah. Go ahead and yes. And I haven't switched yet, so you can see Daedric is ready. So here we go. Okay, so let me go over here. We're going to end it the way it should have started. Heroes. Heroes are what bring State of Survival games together. It is also what brings the community together. And in fact, what you see on screen is that State of Survival heroes bring together a girl and her dog. That's right, the greatest dog ever, Frank the Tank, is here with his owner, Maddie, brought together by State of Survival. And we have also brought together by State of Survival Frank and his tennis ball. So the conversation today is going to be about heroes. In fact, it's already done because the stream is over, but I'm doing the introduction at the end of the stream. So it's over now. We just finished talking about it. If you missed it, go ahead and rewind this because it's on YouTube and you can rewind it. So just watch everything over again. But start with this and then go back. So start at whatever this started and then rewind. Okay? So there it is. There is the intro that you all missed. And on that note, I am Infinity from Reality Skewed Gamers for Delete, for Daedric, and for our special guest today, Sin. Thank you guys so much for joining. And we are going to go ahead and sign out. Take care, guys.
Rock on, LA!